Back to basics, number 9, the double empathy problem or double empathy theory. Okay, so in 2012, Damien Milton, autistic psychologist, came up with the double empathy theory to counteract that awful theory that autistic people lack theory of mind. So Damien Milton said, okay, yeah, maybe autistic people do have some difficulty understanding the perspectives of people who aren't autistic, but we can flip that and say non-autistic people also have a difficulty understanding the autistic perspective. And that's the double empathy problem, basically. And the research that was done then on autistic communication by Crampton and Fletcher basically, I suppose, proved that, gave that theory some weight, because it shows that when autistic people are communicating with each other, we communicate perfectly fine, and same as non-autistic people do. But when we are communicating autistic to non-autistic person, there's more chance of misinterpretation, and we can, misunderstand each other. So, I think it's a wonderful theory. It really explains a lot. It is for, I suppose, to explain autistic to non-autistic communication, but we can actually take that theory and apply it to so many different situations. When we don't share the same culture as somebody, it's hard for us maybe to bridge that gap. When we don't, I don't know what it's like to be a 5-year-old boy in 2025. I don't know what it's like to be an 80-year-old man in 2025. So I don't know what it's like to be a trans person. So I have to acknowledge, I think once we acknowledge there's a double empathy problem between us as humans, we just acknowledge it and we do our best to bridge the gap and acknowledge that, my perspective is going to be different. But I can also use empathy. I can use my experience, which autistic people are really good at, because we do this when we express empathy. We use our own experience to try and understand someone else's experience. You'll see it in how we communicate that empathy. If someone's telling us a story, we might say, oh, that's exactly like the time when I, whatever. That's us showing empathy. We're actually trying to show you, oh, that's exactly kind of like the same thing that happened to me or how I felt at the time. We're literally trying to identify with how you're feeling. And it's a really good example of the double empathy problem, because that's how we express it quite often. And quite often that's misinterpreted about, the autistic person is making the conversation about them. So our expression of empathy, ironically, is actually misinterpreted quite often. So that's a little bit on double empathy.